several years ago, I got this ear infection. I forget what it's called, but it's the kind of ear infection that makes you dizzy. And I got it really, really bad. Yeah, this is a disease that there's some things in deep inside your inner ear that have to do with balance. So, for example, when you turn your head, you don't get dizzy. You see what I mean? You look down at your feet, you don't get dizzy. You look up, most likely you won't get dizzy. Um, it helps you to move, basically. Yeah, our bodies are so magnificent. Yeah, our human bodies are such magnificent organisms. I think we really take things like that for granted. And I didn't know that this was the illness. Yeah, because luckily I have friends who are doctors, so they were able to uh, tell me, based on what I told them, and it was coming in spurts. You know what I mean? Like so a couple of months before that, I something happened, and I thought it was a stomach flu. Yeah, and so boy, I had a heck of a time, in the bathroom, throwing up, and uh, then in about an hour or so, I was all okay. Yeah, it was stomach hurt like hell from all that straining, but nevertheless, I felt good overall. It was okay. Yeah, and my body was recuperating, and it was all right. Then a couple of weeks later, it happened again. And so I was like, man, what am I eating to do this that's causing all this nonsense? And one time I went to Burger King, and so I thought maybe it was something there. The next time I had one of those hot apple pies from McDonald's, and I hadn't had that in a long time, so I thought it was something from there. Because something like that happened to me in America years ago. Yeah, and it did involve a hot apple pie. So there were like 4 or 5 times, where in a matter of 2 months that things like this were happening, and I was like, man, this is crazy. Why am I getting so ill so easy? And I thought something was wrong with my stomach. And then this one time I was gonna cook myself a lunch, and there's a food that's called. Some of you might know what it is. It's called mergus. It's a Turkish kind of sausage that's made out of lamb, um, lamb meat, beef, yeah, kind of mixed together with spices, like oregano and spearmint. I think, yeah, spearmint. Um, kind of. It's really exotic tasting, and I had decided to eat some with some eggs, and cooking it smelled kind of funny, and started getting a little bit queasy, but not enough to say I'm not going to eat this. Yeah, I just thought it was because I didn't eat yet. I thought they were hunger pangs, so I went and started eating, and I was okay. Then I went to go wash the dishes, and I got dizzy, and I was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous." And so then I sat down and just closed my eyes, and I was okay for a while. Then I opened them, and I realized I was still kind of dizzy. So I thought, man, I better take a shower, yeah, because I just got up, and so I thought I better take a shower. So I hurriedly took a shower, and it seemed to be getting dizzier. And I was like, oh man, looks like I'm not going to have a good afternoon. And then it happened, yeah, and I had to. It was pretty bad. I won't get graphic for you. Yeah, I'll save you the details. But it got pretty rugged in the bathroom, and then I was sitting there for, honest to goodness, I must have sat there for 2 hours, mostly trying to not be dizzy. Yeah, it seemed like if I just moved my head just a hair, I'd get the room would spin. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I thought to myself, I have to get to my bed. And this is a long apartment. The bathroom is on one end, and my bedroom was on the other end. And so I was like, oh man, I have to make a run for it, yeah. So I went as fast as I could, carrying a bucket with me, if you know what I mean. And so I was able to make it to my bedroom after a few incidents along the way. And but I tell you something, going through that hallway, it must have felt like, I bet that's what it's like in an earthquake, a really bad earthquake, because the entire hallway was rocking. It wasn't just spinning. It was rocking, up and down from left to right like a ship, you know what I mean? Like a boat in the water, but really fast. And I was like, oh my God, I've never been this bad before. And so I got to my room and laid down, and I was like, I just can't move, or I get dizzy. So that's how bad it was, yeah. So I was, after calming down, I was able to send a message to one of my friends who has the key to this place, and I said, I'm really sick. I said, you need to come to me now and check me out, and I don't know if I have to go to the hospital or what, but I've never been this bad. So she came immediately and checked me out and got me settled down and stuff like that, and I finally was able to relax. But boy, I was dizzy. I was just dizzy. And then she told me to tell her exactly what happened, because she's a doctor. So I said what I just told you. I said it seemed like I got dizzy before I vomited. So she thought, that's usually stomach flu is not like that. She said usually you just throw up. She said you need to go, you need to get to the bathroom or trash can or whatever, yeah. But you don't get dizzy, she said. So my guess is that this is an ear infection. She said, I'm going to talk with a specialist on this, and we'll check you out. So I said, okay. So they both checked me out, and they said, yeah, it's an ear infection. And that's the first time I learned of something like this. Yeah, and I never knew something in the ears could make you dizzy. I never knew that. Yeah. And it totally makes sense, though. When they explained it to me, it just totally makes sense. That there's these little tiny things in your deep inner ear that are very, very small, but they control the balance of your body. So that, like I said, you turn your head, you don't get dizzy. Yeah, you look up, you look down, you look sideways, you don't get dizzy. But if that gets infected, then it doesn't work right. And so that's why you get, no matter what you do, you get dizzy. And so you practically have to relearn, yeah? You have to do exercises like a therapy and go walking around and sit in certain angles so you get used to, your body gets used to that again. And it took me a long time. It hit me really hard. It had really got me hard. That didn't sound right. Well, look at where his mind is wandering to. Let me restate that. It really, it really knocked me down. Yeah, this little tiny thing, this little illness, it just really beat the crap out of me, literally. And and I had to relearn. I had to walk around, and it got me so bad, that it took me longer than it takes most people. I mean, it does. And for most people, it takes several months, sometimes even up to a year. But that's just the way it is. You'll get better. Yeah, you will get better. And so, but I still have a little bit of problem in the nighttime. Yeah, when there's not too many lights out. It's like going through a cave, and maybe that's just age. Yeah. So I don't tend to, when it's dark time, I look for streets that have flat sidewalks, because see, I live in this part of Berlin, there's a lot of sidewalks and streets that are cobblestone. It's nice. It's really pretty, yeah. But it's not during the nighttime. It's a little bit difficult for me to walk on because I'm constantly moving, yeah, and so it's a little bit too much input, so to speak. So that's why I look for streets that have modern sidewalks that are flat and are well lit. That way, I don't have too much of a difficulty. So that's kind of like a residue from that illness. Yeah. So that's why I said earlier, after this show, I'm going to take a walk, but not too far, because it gets really dark and it gets dark early, and I don't want to be bumping into people and cars and things like that. So I'm just letting you know, yeah, this is a wonderful, a real wonderful organism, yeah, that our human bodies are, and so we should take care of them. They do so many things for us. They allow us to they allow us to experience wonderful things in this life. And so we should take care of it. We really, really take things for granted. You don't realize it until you get sick, yeah, or until, like, for example, you break a bone or something like that. You don't realize that until something goes wrong. Then you're more careful. You're more respectful. You shouldn't wait till it gets to that point. Yeah, you should not wait until it gets to that point. You should just start now, so you avoid it later. Because if you wait, that later might come, at a time in your life when you can't heal so fast. That's it. I think it's worth it to make that investment to take care of your body. And you don't have to be a vegan and bodybuilder, and that's all extreme, and that's not what it's about. It's just about being mindful to your body, yeah. Just to go out there and take some walks, and enjoy outside. Let your body breathe. You know what I mean? And it doesn't even have to be that long. You just get out and do something, because our bodies were designed to move. They were not designed to sit in front of a computer for 8 hours straight, or in front of a TV, with resting the remote on your stomach along with a few bags of chips and peanuts and a couple candy bars. Speaking from experience. I was just kidding. Not that many things. Oh man, but just be mindful of what you put in your body, is what I'm saying. And if there's things that you like, that's okay. Just don't overdo it. Yeah, just don't overdo it, because our bodies can handle a lot of things. But if we overload it every day with a lot of things, eventually our body's going to not be able to handle it anymore. So I seriously challenge you people who smoke cigarettes to really think about what you're doing to your body. I know a lot of you think that, it's government propaganda, You don't get cancer from smoking. That's just government propaganda. You know, that is just like a drug addict telling you he can stop at any time. As the fact is, it's gonna fuck up your lungs. That is a fact. I don't care how cool you think you look, or how socially acceptable. Socially acceptable does not mean healthy body. Yeah? See, I used to smoke years ago, and I stopped years ago after I saw some of the effects were starting to happen to my body, and I stopped right away because I didn't want to get cancer. I didn't want to, I didn't like it that my clothes smelled a certain way, and that it seemed like every time I got done eating, I had to have a cigarette, and I didn't want to get to that point where I couldn't, where I just had to have it all the time. So I stopped right away. I did the same thing with alcohol. I used to get drunk years ago. I know what that's like. Yeah, so I stopped because I saw the symptoms appearing really slowly. And I knew enough, I had enough knowledge, that I acquired beforehand that when you see these signs, you're on the way to, becoming addicted to cigarettes or becoming an alcoholic or whatever. I saw the early warning signs and I paid attention because I saw relatives in front of me, left and right, how they were becoming addicted, how they were becoming alcoholic, and how they were dying from these things, but yet they continue to do it. That's how it is when you're addicted. People, you can yell in people's faces that, why are you doing this to your body? And the person says, I can stop anytime. The government. The government this is propaganda from the government. There's nothing wrong with smoking. Smoking doesn't cause cancer. I've been smoking for 40 years. I don't have cancer. My father's been smoking for 60 years. He doesn't have cancer. This is how people in denial talk. They really don't know. They're too scared to go to a doctor. Because I tell you, for those of you who are not smokers, and you have a friend who is a smoker, and they talk like what I just said, challenge them. Say, well, show me a doctor's report, because I don't believe you. Even if it's your brother or your mother or your best friend, in this one area, say, I don't trust you in this because I know smoking kills. So you prove it to me that you don't have cancer. I want to see some reports. Because if it's even then, it might be doing something else too. Yeah, it's not just cancer. There's other things that this does to you. And if you know that when you overload your body with unhealthy things, that you're going to die, but you do it anyway because it feels good, it tastes good, but you do it anyway, you have a problem. And you know it too, but you just don't want to admit it. Because you believe that as long as you don't admit it, it's not there. That's your belief. That's denial. That comes from a thinking process. Yeah? In Lakota Star Knowledge, it teaches that reality begins within. So, if you're starting within, telling yourself, this is, I don't have this problem. This is not true. I can stop any time. That is a denial. And you've said it to yourself so many times that you actually believe it. Yeah. So just think about it. I know talking to addicts is difficult because they honest to goodness believe they don't have a problem. They honest to goodness believe that the government is spreading all these lies, all this propaganda saying that it causes cancer. I met somebody like this in my life. She was from Florida. She was a saxophone player. She played in a jazz band. It was nice talking to her. But one thing I noticed was her voice was sure low, yeah, for a woman. But I know, that sometimes women have low voices, just like some men have really high voices. Yeah, I know that. So I just thought her voice was low. Then as she got a little bit more relaxed with me, it started to show. So in other words, she was putting on an act. Yeah. So it started to show. The more she got relaxed, the more I heard her real voice, and it was something like this. Yeah, I kind of like doing this, and this is I like to eat this, and then it started to get gravelier and gravelier and gravelier, and I was like, yeah, this is a diehard cigarette smoker. So just out of curiosity, I asked her how long she was smoking, and she said, "How do you know I'm a smoker?" Just wondering, just taking a guess. And everything went downhill from there. And one of the things she said was that, because I told her, I can be friends with you, but it's not going to go further than that. Because that's just the way I am, yeah. And so she was all upset, and she was saying. And then she went into this speech about how the government is putting out all this propaganda against the tobacco companies, saying that smoking causes cancer, and it doesn't. She said it absolutely doesn't. The government is lying to you. She said. I said that's fine, but I'm telling you, my stand is that if you want to be with me, then that has to go. Yeah, and if you believe, this is, you're using that as a reason to do this, then, like I said, then I'm not going to get into this. I said this is I don't go further than friendship concerning that. I'm not going to tell you not to smoke, but I'm saying if I'm going to be with a woman intimately, she cannot be a cigarette smoker. That's just the way it is. That's just my stand. That's just my preference. Your preference is to smoke. Mine is not. So she got all mad and everything, and I let it go. It's no loss to me because, and I know there's people who've been doing this since they were young teenagers, and they did it to be cool, and they think it's still cool. They think it's because it's socially acceptable in certain environments, and they continue to do it. And I just risen above that. Now, I'm not putting them down, okay? Because they're people, they're smart, they're incredibly intelligent, creative, but I truly believe the smoking it affects that somehow. That they could be more creative if they didn't smoke. Yeah. So because this is an addiction. This is an addiction, and that is a fact. That is a biological fact. Same thing. Coffee is another one. I drink coffee, but I'm not that kind of person that that wakes up and has to have one, otherwise the day won't go straight. You know, I'm not like that. I am the kind of person that enjoys the drink. I don't require the drink. Do you know what I mean? I don't need it, but I do like my coffee. Yeah, and I do it. I drink it to enjoy it. I don't drink it because I need it. And I don't drink it every day. Yeah, so that's how it is for me. So, but I know what addiction is, and I know when people start saying crazy statements and then say the statements as if it was the absolute everyday truth, that this is the language of addiction, and that is an illness. And when you have that kind of addiction, it might leak into another area of their life, because the body and the emotions and the mind and the soul are all connected to each other. These are the four parts of the self. You can use a medicine wheel to represent these four parts. And in the center is where they connect. This is your sacred center. And this is also where you have a part of the Grandmother Earth inside of you. Yeah, that's where that piece is located. This is what makes you sacred. This is what makes you a blessing. And reality begins within. That's the point it begins for you, is in your sacred center. So, if you have an addiction to something, your body has an addiction to something, this is going to affect the other three parts of yourself. Your mind starts to develop ideas to justify your choices, your actions, and this is the next thing you know, your emotions get locked in on it as well, and you're going to become spiritually weak. You're not going to be able to develop emotionally. Yeah, and then you get physically sick, because the four parts connect to each other. The addiction will make you physically sick in the end. It might not be cancer, it might be something else. You will get sick physically eventually, because the four parts are connected. So you can go ahead and talk yourself into believing you're never going to get cancer. You can talk yourself into that. Believe it all you want, but it's going to come back at you physically regardless. Yeah, and even if it's not cancer, it's going to be something else. Addiction hits you in the abdomen area. Yeah, because it's going to affect your emotions, and you're going to get to a point. See, you're in a denial, and it's going to eventually get you into an emotional denial. So when you're experiencing things, you have problems with the emotional part. Even when it's a good experience, you have a problem with it, and that's going to mess you up in the beginning in the abdomen area, and then it's going to spread from there to other parts of your body. I know people like this. One of my ex-girlfriends was this way. It was so bad she had to have part of her intestines removed. And she can't stop. It's an addiction. It starts in the mind. And I don't even know if she's still alive. Yeah? And they use emotions to justify their actions, and they don't allow themselves to feel good because they don't know how to deal with it. So when they somehow stumble into a really nice relationship with a nice person, they enjoy it, because we all enjoy beginnings of relationships. But when it continues, they can't handle it, and so they find a way to make it end. Well, that's related to other things too. But underneath all of this is an addictive way of thinking. And it could start from another direction too. It could start from an experience. Maybe you experienced something in your life, something that you shouldn't have seen, something that should never have happened to anybody. Yeah? But it was so traumatic that it shocked your whole system. Maybe this happened to you when you were a little kid. You saw something that just shocked the hell out of you and traumatized you. And you have a hard time dealing with it. And then people will do certain things to avoid thinking about it. And that's going into a denial. Eventually getting to a point where they believe it never happened. But the energy is still there in the body. So from an experience like that could also lead to addiction. Yeah, that could lead to, again, it starts from emotional, yeah, and then it or mental too, and it'll come to physical eventually. But usually it starts because of something inside. Most people get drunk on the reservation because they don't want to feel certain things. So they're trying to hide that, and so that they become, alcoholics eventually. So I know these things happen. I've seen it all around me. I've come into contact with it firsthand, and so knowing enough of this information, plus paying attention to when they were talking about it at school, I recognized in my own life, when I was getting drunk and smoking cigarettes, and in my young years, I recognized the early warning signs of becoming an addict, and I stopped immediately while I could. I outlived a lot of my cousins. This shouldn't be. We are not old people. This shouldn't be the way it is. They died 40 years old. Yeah? Before I came to Germany, I saw one of my cousins at the laundromat. I was shocked. I thought I was looking at a grandpa. We are the same age. We were 40 years old. We are the same age. We were in the same grade in high school. And this man looked like he was in his 70s. I mean, really old. His hair was all white. He was bony. I didn't recognize him. He came up and he said, "Hey, Dave, how are you doing?" I said, "Hey, Lou, is that you?" I said, "Hey, yeah, it's me." "Hey, Dave, I was wondering if you could loan me 25 cents. I was like, "Oh, fuck, Lou's gone." It didn't even... I was shocked because he looked 25 years or 35 years older than he should have looked. But at the same time, I was happy to see him. I hadn't seen him in over 20 years. So I was really happy to see him. And instead of him saying, "Hey, Dave, it's good to see you again," instead of that, he didn't even mention that we didn't see each other again. The first thing he went for is, Can you loan me 25 cents? This is the language of the winos on the reservation. They ask everybody for change and go to save up for a cheap bottle of wine. And I was like, man, that is really sad. Yeah? And a little while later he died. Cirrhosis. Yeah? So, This is I know firsthand. This is what it leads to. Yeah, for all you teetotalers and you think people who you think you're really cool, you're smoking cigarettes now. You're on a road, and you can emotional denial yourself all you want. That's your choice to do so. You're on the road to die. But you don't have to believe me. Yeah, you don't have to believe me. If you really want to get out, you'll have somebody help you to get out, because I know when you're really addicted to something, you can't do it alone. And we weren't designed that way. Now there are some things that we can do alone, but sometimes when the situation is so severe, we can't do it alone. And that's okay. We can have somebody guide us. That's no problem. There's no law that says that you can't do that. We can. Yes, we can. So anyway, again, your body is a wonderful organism with so many things that it does. It's just amazing how things work together, so that you can do simple things like stand up and sit down without getting dizzy. Yeah? That you can walk, for those of you that can walk. You can take a walk without getting dizzy. That you can run. That you can talk. That you can look at something and see the beauty of it, and that some of these things, these plants, are making air so that we can breathe. It's wonderful. Why would you fuck it up with cigarettes? Yeah? But that's your choice, yeah? That's your choice. But like I said, I've been there, so I know what it's like. I have been there. Thank goodness I stopped when I could. Yeah? And but I know some people, it's difficult. But I tell you, one of the most stupid things I ever heard in my life came from a woman. And that shouldn't be so. Because normally it's men who are stupid. That's kind of the norm, yeah? Oh man. But I did a seminar in Switzerland back in 2010, 2009, somewhere around there. And it was a lady by the name of Daniela that sponsored it. And she seemed to be nice, yeah, through email and telephone and stuff like that, and got to know her and a little bit personally too. And she was telling me that she just got out of an abusive relationship, she said. And evidently the guy is kind of well known. I forgot what his name was. But I have no proof that this actually is true, because I just met this lady. I don't know if what she's saying is really true or not, because in my life I've experienced some pretty serious liars. Yeah, and with this lady, I don't know, but there were some warning flags that I paid attention to it. Yeah, and didn't let it overwhelm or overtake me, I should say. So, she was talking about this abusive marriage that she was in, and she was talking about how mean he was, and that he would give her just a few just a little bit of money and expect her to buy whole bunch of things with it. And how he never let her out of the house and was very questioning, whenever she didn't come home in what he thought would be the appropriate amount of time. I can understand that because that's how abusive men are. Huh? And she was saying that, when she knew him, he wasn't that way. He was really a nice guy. Until after the daughter was born, and suddenly he changed. That's according to her. And I know that's possible too. It's not the child's fault. This guy's fuck up. Yeah. So I know that's possible. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And then she was saying that, now I'm free. She said, I have my own place. Never going to get married again. Not going to have any more children. And she said, this is the way she said it to me was red flag. Yeah, I'm never gonna do this again. I'm never gonna do that again. She was talking about, how he didn't let me do this, he didn't let me do that. Finally, she said, I can smoke cigarettes. And I really had a hard time not laughing, because I was like, what kind of thing is that to say? Yeah? I mean, you're talking about escaping an abusive husband so that she could poison her body and die from cancer. Just, to me, it was like saying, instead of getting killed by an abusive husband, now I can kill myself a little bit slower with cigarettes. I was like, shit, what kind of independence is that? Do you know what I mean? I was thinking of that Martina McBride song called Independence Day, which is about that topic. And so now finally I can smoke cigarettes. Oh man, it's so wacky. And the fact of smoking cigarettes as a sign of independence, to me, is saying there is something really screwy going on here, that I'm not getting the full truth. I was telling you about how wonderful of an organism our bodies are. They do so many things for us that it's unbelievable how many things our bodies do for us every second. Yeah, that how much communication is happening between so many parts of our internal body that it allows us to turn our head, blink our eyes, tap our feet, scratch our stomach, things like that. And it's amazing, that there's so many things that are working together with the brain and sending all these electrical pulses throughout our bodies, and all this is so amazing what our bodies can do. And that our bodies are like a tioshpaye. A tioshpaye is an extended family, and a tioshpaye has societies, that focus on certain things. There's different men's and women's societies, and each society focuses on a certain element that's required for the society to survive, to live, to have success. And so there are, like, for example, we have our red blood cells that do certain things for our bodies that are like a warrior society. When something foreign enters our body, we might get sick, but our body examines it, learns it, and spits it out. Yeah. And most of the time, and now nowadays we're entering that time where we do need a little bit of help with medications to help deal with things, and sometimes these things are so difficult that it's tragic. I think we really should take time to think about that, all these wonderful things. And I was telling you about an illness that I had several years ago that made it, I had to do a lot of my body had to do a lot of relearning things. I mean, not the body, but the inner ear things. Yeah, so I could, do things like I used to do before. It's just that now, I don't have much practice during the nighttime. I mean, outside. Yeah, like now, as long as the sun is out, I can go out and walk all over the city and have no problem. But as soon as the light goes down, as soon as the sun goes down, and I'm in a neighborhood, a residential neighborhood, and where there's a lot of trees and there's street lamps here and there, it's a little bit more difficult because I'm not used to that yet. So right now, when I do things, if I'm taking public travel, I'd rather do it during the sunlight. Yeah. If I'm with somebody that has a car, then it doesn't matter. I'm inside a car. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. But when I have to do walking, which I don't mind, I like walking. I'd rather do it during when the sun is out, so I can see things really good. Yeah, because I'm not used to my ear. These little mechanisms inside my ear are not used to walking around in a lot of darkness. Not yet. Yeah, but I am getting there. So it's just showing you, yeah, that how our bodies can be sometimes, and they're so remarkable and they're so wonderful. Why would we willingly poison them? Yeah, with really harmful things, and I think if we keep that in mind, I think that we're putting our body first. Yeah, to at least think that, and then use that as some kind of a anchor or something, yeah, and then start working on whatever it is that's causing us to put these things in our bodies. Facing ourselves, facing our facing the difficulties that might be, we might be using certain thinking patterns to keep us away from facing a certain issue or difficulty. To anchor yourself, yeah, to just use the thought that your body is wonderful, regardless of what kind of physical shape you're in. Don't be concerned about that at this point, okay? Because there's nothing you can do right now, to make instant change, but you can start. That's the good thing, yeah? So don't worry about what kind of physical condition you're in right now. Don't worry about that, okay? Just let that go. And don't feel down about it. Just let it go, okay? Just let the thought go. And just hold on to that thought that your body is a wonderful, wonderful creature. It's a wonderful organism. It's designed to protect you. Yeah, it wants you to live. Yeah, because it's you. Yeah, it is you. Yeah, and your body wants you to live. Yeah, and so this is pay attention to it. Yeah, listen to it, and like I said, just slowly do things that for your body. Yeah, slowly do things that are good for your body. Like, for example, take a walk from time to time. Well, at least, if you could do that once a day, that would be fantabulous. And it doesn't have to be a long walk. Just start in a distance that you're comfortable with. Start with that first. Yeah, just take a walk, and then, so you're out there, because once you start doing that, boy, your body's gonna be happy. Yeah, your body's really gonna be happy, and you're gonna feel good, and you're Blood's gonna flow through your brain, giving you wonderful ideas to ponder, and that all them ideas are gonna lead to things because reality begins within. So you can massage your brain taking a walk, so all this your blood can flow through up there, and you can like I said, you can start to get ideas, get inspired. So you're planting the seeds of inspiration inside of you when you go for a walk. How about that? Huh? That's cool. So do that, and that's just take things slowly, and then eventually you'll be able to start to get confidence to start facing them things that are starting to bother you, or that bother you from the past, or whatever, and these difficult things, and just slowly start making the best of them. Slowly start learning from them. And like sometimes they're so difficult, you may need outside help. That's fine, because that's how it is. Yes, sometimes there are things that are so difficult that we need help. Yeah, we need somebody to help guide us through it, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're designed to give help, and we're also designed to receive. And then once you work on that, maybe you'll start losing your desire to do those things that you used to do to stay away from facing those difficulties from the past. And maybe you'll stop smoking. Maybe slowly you'll let it go, and you'll because you don't have anything to hide anymore. Yeah, and now you can start working on getting yourself off whatever it is you're addicted to. Yeah, because it's possible as long as you deal with the root reason. Yeah. And when you come to peace with that, now you can start dealing with your addictions. You can start, finding ideas, and again, you may need help, and that's fine. So you can slowly come off of that, and again, your body's gonna thank you for that. You're gonna really be happy, and you'll make it. Yeah, you will make it. So there's hope. Yeah, there is hope. Have it, believe in it, and because that's a part of the reality beginning within. The hope is all a part of that. That makes that gives you power, so you can do this. Yeah. So just think about that. Yeah. Like, I'm not condemning you, because I'm not judging you. If you're a smoker or you're alcoholic, I'm not judging you. Not at all. Yeah. I'm just saying, there is a way, and you can make that experience work for you. It's going to be hard, because once you've entered addiction, it's going to be hard, and it's something you have to face every day. But if you want to live healthy, you can do it. I know people who have made it, who have transformed the experience into an everyday thing that they are able to face the world, deal with the world in a healthy way, and to live in a healthy way. They're able to do this. So it's possible. Yeah, it is entirely possible. So please, if I sounded like I was talking down on you, I apologize, because that wasn't the intention. Yeah, my intention was to shake you. Yeah, to say, hey, wake up here. Yeah, why would you put this poison inside your wonderful body? And like I said, I know that for many, many people, it's a tool to help them forget. It's a tool to help them to hide and deny something. Yeah, and it keeps them in there, and then their body becomes addicted to it. So that's why I said, first of all, deal with the root. Yeah, face it, and you can smoke your cigarettes while you're facing it. I think what a lot of people do is they try to do the whole thing all at once, and sometimes it don't work that way. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't work that way. My suggestion is that what's more important needs to be dealt with first, and that's the root. Yeah, the root is the thing you're denying. So go ahead and smoke. Continue smoking, and start looking for that. Yeah, start facing those things from the past that you need to come to peace with. And once you get that accomplished, and you will, pardon me for yawning, I haven't eaten yet, so I'm getting weak now. Starting to see things here. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of people who that does happen to. No. Yeah. What's more important is to come out of the denial. Yeah, and then you can deal with the physical addiction afterwards. You don't have to do it all at once. And I think when people try to do it all at once, that's where they get stressed. Yeah. So you just do what you can step by step, and then the physical addiction will be the pull will be a little bit less, but that little bit less is very significant. It's incredibly significant, and to help you come off of that next. Yeah, because it doesn't have a leg to stand on. You've already dealt with it. Yeah, the reason why you did it in the first place is that you're at peace with that now. So the addiction is on its own now, and it doesn't have a foundation. You see what I mean? So that makes it easier to deal with. And you can. And you can whip it. You can make it work for you. Yeah. And then you're on a healthy road again. See, nothing is impossible. Yeah? So just do the best that you can. And believe me, as you do this, see, you have to want this. And these thoughts are going to help you. Yeah? To want this is going to help you. Because reality begins when you want this. See, remember, the 4 parts of yourself are connected. Your physical body, your mind, your emotions, and your soul. So when you want this, it's going to affect the other 3 too. They're going to help that. They're all going to nurture each other. And that's going to help you kick the addiction too. Yeah, that's because your body is so wonderful. It'll even help you in that. Yeah, take the chance. Yeah, take the chance. Believe me, it's worth it.